Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Mary Grace. I am Mary Grace, and you're here live on my show, Real Talk with Mary Grace. Can everybody hear me? Okay, here we go. I need to just move a little bit here. Barley says hello. He's taking his afternoon nap. Okay. Good to see everybody. So, your Facebook is down. Okay. Yeah, things are crazy today. All right. Does anybody know what Johnny Enlow was talking about on Elijah streams that caused YouTube to get triggered and take down the whole thing? I saw a comment. Somebody said the video went to private, and then the whole thing was taken down. I I saw Steve Schultz. They put up an announcement that said they took it down. So I don't know. I don't know what was going on, but it was funny because right after that, I saw an announcement by YouTube that they're having a special, uh, what I would call struggle session, which is to ask you if you know how racist you really are. So that's what they're focusing on these days. Is if you didn't think before about racism, now it's being shoved in your face. Uh, so there's that. Okay. There were tech glitches. Yeah. So, okay. Um, Somebody just asked about George News. Well, it's funny that you ask that because if you're in my Telegram channel and in my chat, you would know that George News is going to be live tonight. So make sure you're following my Telegram channel because I share those things on Mary Grace Media Official. Mary Grace Media Official. In case you haven't figured it out, I'm not really posting other posts in other places. I'm not posting on Twitter like I used to. I just have my backup account there. I don't really post stuff on Facebook. Anything that I find of interest that I want to share, I share it on my official Telegram account, Mary Grace Media Official. So make sure you're following that if you're not already. And if you're in the chat and you have a link to that you want to share with other people, please do that. That would be great if you could do that. And as you're coming in, please remember on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and then hit the reminders. Yeah, that's the bell. And then on Facebook, please make sure you share this into groups. And if you're in groups, it really helps if you share it to groups that you belong to because it gets it around the algorithm. Shh, don't tell the censors over at Social Media Inc. that we know how to do that. Also, I am on Clout Hub Channel 111, Clout Hub Channel 111, Mary Grace Media, and I am on Instagram, Mary Grace Media, and I'm going to be doing more lifestyle kind of posting over there, and I'm going to be doing some videos and things over on Instagram. So follow me over there as well. And I don't think that Bill Gates bought Telegram, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. So Facebook is down, so nobody can come on Facebook. Interesting. Okay. I wanted to jump into something interesting. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I appreciate it. So I guess everybody needs to watch on YouTube. If you're a Facebooker, watch on YouTube. I wonder if that means that I'm not even broadcasting on Facebook. Very, very interesting. Okay. So, all right. Now, I was watching a video put out today. It was a press conference that was being done with Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida. And he had some very interesting things to say to the media. They were asking him if he was going to institute a vaccine passport. And this is something that's all the buzz right now. And what that is it's a basically a social credit pass that um, is really intended to stratify society and to put you in a box based on whether you complied with the social expectation and pressure of getting a shot or if you didn't. That's really all there is to it. And the whole point of it is to single people out based on their decision. So if somebody decides to exercise their medical uh, sovereignty and not get that, they're immediately labeled. And the way that they're labeled is by being excluded from society. Uh, now, that it gets complicated, and this is what Ron DeSantis brought up. He said, this opens up a really horrible can of worms because what happens to people who have recovered from COVID, who have immunity? Why would they get the vaccine? What happens to people who have recently recovered, who, even if they wanted to get the vaccine, they're not advised to? What happens to people who just don't want to do it? No, nobody should be required. What happens to your medical privacy? What happens to privacy in general? These are some really legitimate questions, and he has said unequivocally that he will not endorse anything that requires that. And he said he believes that most businesses do not want to require that either. And so he feels like he's doing them a favor by allowing them to make that decision. And, on the other hand, you have big corporations that are now starting to do this. And one of the things that he said that I thought was really good and forward thinking is he said, right now it's an executive order in Florida, and he knows that it needs to be codified into law. So the legislature in Florida is working on that right now. And he also said that there are several other states that are working toward that as well, including Texas, I think South Carolina, Georgia, a few states. And this is good because what he's saying is that he said Florida is really the leader when it comes to tourism. And so the fact that he is not tolerating it in the state of Florida, he feels like will lead the way and set the precedent for other corporations that are tempted to start requiring this, especially if they do business in Florida, including the cruise lines. And he said that, but he also said that he feels like the fact that multiple states are working on legislation that would prevent vaccine passports being implemented in their states. He said that he feels like that is a good strategy because the more states have that codified into law, the better the better a chance we have of preventing corporate entities from doing it. Because if you have a company that is doing business in multiple states and half of those states are requiring the passport and half do not allow it, you're going to lose a lot of business in those states. And so that's one way to pressure the woke corporations from trying to control your medical sovereignty and from trying to poke their nose into your privacy. They have no business. And so I urge you to go back and watch what he said. He expressed it and articulated it very well. It was a really good point. And then the America's Frontline Doctors came out and they said that they were commenting, and this is from the White House, such as it is, the fake administration says that they will not require COVID-19 vaccine passports And what the American uh, um, here's what Circleback Saki said. As these tools are being considered by the private and non-private sectors, our interest is very simple from the federal government, which is Americans' privacy and rights should be protected, and so that these systems are not used against people unfairly. And then Biden's chief medical advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the fraud, this week also said that the government will not mandate vaccine passports for travelers or businesses after the pandemic is over. Now that's interesting. After the pandemic is over, well, we know they want to make the pandemic uh they want to make the pandemic last forever. So that's concerning. One of the things that this is what the America's frontline doctors are saying. Joe Biden admin says they will not now, nor will we be requiring vaccine passports. Kudos to Biden for taking this stance. Absolutely the only correct choice to protect constitutional rights. But he must prove a true leader by preventing corporations from similar violations. So this is the real key here. And as far as I'm concerned, any corporation, any company that requires that will lose my business. And here's the larger point that I wanted to get to. And this is it's frustrating and annoying to have to say this because a year ago, when people were having this conversation about the mask, I was one of the people who was out there saying, don't do it. Do not comply. Do not let them require this of you. Even with the 15 days, right? It's you. I think more people understand now. If you give these people an inch, they will take a mile. And this is their mindset. There is no reciprocity. There is no forgiveness. There's no, working with you on anything. It's always take, take, take because they really want to take your freedom away. That's the whole point. They want to do away with the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, everything that this country stands on. And so this is it doesn't surprise me that we're at this point where we're having this conversation about a vaccine passport because in my opinion, the face covering really was just the gateway to that. It was, it was a branding, a physical branding that you put on people that separates the woke and the compliant from the independent thinkers. And America is is founded on independence, the Declaration of Independence. And it looks like somebody's saying that YouTube just froze. Let me just see if we're on YouTube right now. It looks like we're going. So maybe that is just your internet. Okay. Um, so we're still on YouTube, but that's the whole point. And I think that it's really critical that people understand this. That it's really critical that people understand that eh, you know the way that government works is the way that government works is that our representatives govern and exist by the consent of the governed. And this is something that people either never knew in the first place or totally forgot. Because the things that these government officials are being allowed to get away with are criminal. They should not ever have been given consent or been allowed to do the things that they did. In my state, the face covering, the mandate, the edict, whatever it was, that never should have been tolerated. Nobody should have stood up and tolerated that. but because they allowed themselves, because business owners allowed regulatory agencies to bully them, we're in this place. So that is just that's my commentary on it. And so it's it's frustrating, um because you know those of us who were sounding the alarm from the very beginning, it's a little bit painful to watch people who are just coming to this realization that, oh no, they're not giving us our rights back. No, you have to take your rights back. You do. And you and the sad thing is that the people who are infringing on your rights a lot of times don't even know that they are, because they don't understand how it works. I had a situation the other day where I got a letter from the gym saying that they were going to reactivate people's accounts. And so I called them to talk to them about their policy for the masks, and um, they said, well, nobody has to wear them working out, but you have to wear them when you're moving around the club. And I said, well, I can't do that. I said, I have an exemption. And so he said, oh, okay, well, then we can just put a note on your account. I said, I said, I don't wear it. And I said, what I want to know is, am I going to be harassed by other members or staff for not being able to wear that? And they were very nice. They said, well, we don't, eh, that's not allowed. We can't, they said, we can't control what other members do, but at the same time, we'll put a note in your account so that you're not harassed or asked, by the check-in desk or anything like that. And so they said, then he said, all you have to do is just bring a note from your doctor. And I was like, I said, I'm not going to do that because I don't have to. And he said, oh, what do you mean? He didn't know what I was talking about. I said, well, by law, I'm protected. My medical privacy is protected by HIPAA and by ADA. I don't have to tell you or anybody what my condition is and why I can't wear a mask around the club. And and so, and I shouldn't be harassed by about it. And so he said, I okay, that this is the first time I'm hearing of this. And I said, well, it's federal law. And I said, even the governor's edict, which is unlawful, allows for the exemption. And so it's interesting because most people have no idea that the edicts that they are enforcing and the rules that they're following and the policy decisions that they're making are completely unlawful. And so that's why people like me are out there, fighting this fight and standing up for the truth and for what is lawful. And so, that brings me to the next topic that I wanted to talk about today, which is election integrity. And when we talk about all of these issues, uh, when we talk about all of these issues with the vaccine passport, with all the masks, with all of these issues, it is they're important. They're really important issues. However, I do feel that a lot of the hype and attention that is being put on the shot. Um, so uh, Oh, let me go to a comment that somebody made on YouTube. I'm going to come back to this. She said, I had to get a note from my doctor from my file at work. Okay. So under ADA law, uh, that doesn't, when you, or HIPAA, when you have an exemption at work, it actually doesn't protect you from giving, from your employer knowing. So, for example, if you tell an employer, I can't perform X duty because of a physical limitation, that that is actually not, that information is not protected. I did read about that, and so I guess that makes a little bit of sense because, people could just lie to get out of doing a job that they're being paid to do. There's some gray areas there, though. Okay, um, so I'm glad that your doctor was stern, and and I hope that the stalking and the bullying stops. If you do get bullied, I would document it because that's actually bullying, and it's also in some places considered assault. Assault is, when somebody comes at you. Battery is when they actually physically hit you. So keep a record. If anybody comes at you, record it with your phone, and keep a record of that, and tell them, say, I'm recording this because you're bullying me, because I'm protected, and I'm protected under federal law, and so you are actually violating federal law right now by bullying me. Okay, so let me get back to what I was saying about election integrity. So the real issue that is that we're in danger of losing sight of is the election integrity and election fraud. And I think that it's really important that we don't get distracted and take our eyes off the prize. And the reason that I say that is not because this other issue is not important. I get that it's important. I get that people are waking up to the agenda of the pharmaceutical industry and of what is being done here, and of big government and all of the reset kinds of things and the global initiatives and all the insanity. I get that. But what I want to urge you is, do not take your eye off the ball when it comes to election integrity because if this doesn't get fixed, if it doesn't get dealt with, it's not going to matter what you think about vaccines or vaccine passports, because you're not going to have a choice, because we will never have a fair election again. And what you think about elections or candidates or anything like that isn't going to matter. Because guess what? They don't have elections in China. They don't. They just keep the same leader for life. They just install people. And those are the people who decide what you do with your body. You don't decide that. And so there's no such thing as medical autonomy. There's no such thing as privacy. There's no such thing as my body, my choice. So just keep that in mind because if we don't fix this giant problem, then none of the rest of it matters because we will never, ever choose our president again or the administration. So just keep that in mind, and know that and know that uh hold on a second. Okay. Okay. Just know that oh, hold on a second. What's happening? Oh, Twitter shut down my video. Okay, somebody just said that Twitter shut down my video. Yeah. It's funny. Yesterday or Tuesday, when I did my YouTube video, it had like that blacked out screen when you saw it in the feed. They're just messing with us. I think it was because I talked about Jesus Christ on Tuesday and about salvation. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. Um, yeah. So we really need to focus, because none of it's going to matter if we don't get this fixed. Okay. And we know that they are doing the independent audit in Arizona, and that the Arizona supervisors are resisting it, which is just insane. And I just saw that Mark Fincham, is that his name? The guy that is the senator? I'm trying to look it up here on Telegram. Yeah, Mark Fincham. Yeah, so Mark Fincham is running for Secretary of State in Arizona. So that is going to be fantastic. So he actually does need your support. AZ Rep Mark Fincham stresses importance of election security and transparency. So that was a YouTube that he was on. I'm going to share that to my Telegram, and then I'm going to share his candidate page here. So as we've seen throughout this process, it's very important to understand that it's very important to understand that these positions that people hadn't really paid attention to before, like Secretary of State, that they actually carry an incredible amount of power. Now, they shouldn't carry as much power as they do, but we saw that the entire election in Georgia was turned on its head and stolen because of a consent decree that was made between the Secretary of State in Georgia, a Republican, and Big Stacey Abrams. And that was done completely unlawfully without consent or vote by the state legislature. And that's where the problem lies. So, is everything being fixed all at once? I don't think so, but are we making progress in individual counties and states and different areas? Yes, we are. So this has been a huge, huge awakening and eye-opening for people. And uh, I think that this is. I just want to urge you, do not lose sight of this. Don't get yourself all spun out over whether somebody's getting a shot or what the agenda of the shot is or what is in it. Like, yes, if that's where your calling is and you are an activist in that area and you feel called to make a difference there, that's one thing. If you are in a fear place and you are allowing yourself to be consumed by the thought of what could happen when people take these, then that is a place of weakness. You're not coming from a place of power. And so I just want to really caution you about that, because it's a distraction. And, I get that people are alarmed about it. But the truth is, there's always going to be something to be alarmed about. And I know this is like tricky territory to be treading on because I know I'm going to make somebody mad. But like I said, if the election stuff doesn't get fixed, doesn't matter what you think about the vaccine. It just doesn't matter because you're not going to have any choices and there's not going to be any way to make the changes. Bottom line. Okay? So yeah. And the other thing is too. This is the other thing. I thought about this because people are so worried about what they're putting in this shot. And they're talking about stuff that's going to alter your DNA, affect that's going to affect your biological makeup, et cetera, et cetera. But here's what people have not been focusing on, and it's a little bit annoying to me, a little bit frustrating because there has there have been things have been happening for a very long time that have affected your biological makeup and your physiology and your DNA, and that is actually food. The way that the food and drug industry, the FDA, the big pharma and big ag, and the industrialization of both of those has affected you for a very long time. And so if you're looking around and you're wondering why, for example, everybody seems to be getting cancer, why so many kids get cancer, why there is such a high rate of autism, why there is such a high rate of memory loss in the elderly, why people are obese no matter how hard they try. to watch what they eat. Why people have adrenal fatigue, why people have infertility, why there are so many health challenges when we as a society have access to, quote, healthy foods at a higher level than we've ever had before. Why is that? Could it be that the foods have been engineered in such a way to alter your body's hormonal response, to alter your body's uh, mechanisms, right? There's fundamental changes that are happening. People are getting diabetes, they're getting type 2 diabetes when they're young, when they're children. That's why they no longer call it adult onset diabetes, because it's coming to children. That's by design, you guys. I'm not going to go into all of the research besides around that. Um, yeah, I'm talking about so-called healthy food now. You look at the foods that people are eating, even from the health food store, unless it's guaranteed organic and non-GMO, then I can tell you right now that it's genetically modified and that it's been laced with pesticides. So, yeah, I understand the point about making it cheap to eat poorly, but let me just ask you this: um, when I was a kid, uh, my family ate pretty cheaply. People people grew people grew their own foods. The point is that even people who were eating cheaper food, who were making do on a very limited food budget, were not coming down with all of these diseases at a rampant pace. That's my point. Yes, there I could talk forever about about all of the problems with, the food supply and with the distribution of food and things like that. There's a lot that could be said. My point here is this: that people are getting alarmed about what they're putting into specific medications right now. What I'm asking you to be aware of is the fact that this is not new. that that the agricultural and pharmaceutical industries have been this tight for a long, long, long time, and that they have been adulterating your foods, and that the reason that people have so much sickness is because of that. That is a big problem. That's why, I mean, so many people, the people that were the highest risk of from COVID, are people who eat the standard American diet, who are suffering from all of those Western diseases: heart disease, diabetes, obesity, et cetera, et cetera. And so these are factors that come into play. And so I realize that some of you are just waking up to the reality of how this whole mechanism works. And it is alarming when you're first waking up to it. But I want you to be aware that this situation with these shots is not the first time that this is not new. That's what I'm saying. This isn't new. um, what you see around you and all of the medical problems that people have, a great percentage of those are because of the food supply and because of the fact that people are on all of these pharmaceuticals. And that's a big problem. So just, as you're looking at and becoming aware of this situation with this particular shot and these companies and what they're doing, I'm afraid you're going to have to go deeper down the rabbit hole and understand that this is just one small part of a much bigger problem that our society has been subject to for a very long time. And so, happy researching, because I hope that it brings you around to making better choices and understanding that if you have been in that situation where, you're not where you haven't understood what exactly is in the food, or you're making choices that no matter what you do, you still feel bad, or you are on a lot of medications of whatever kind, pain pills, prescription drugs, things like that, that there is an awakening that by and large, those things aren't designed to help you. The system is not designed to make you better. So, yeah, I mean, just you got to have perspective here. It's so weird not having the chat. Somebody mentioned I have superfoods. I absolutely do. Yeah. And the more I learn about what I have with our superfoods, the more convinced I am that it's just absolutely the way to go because it's really hard to get really good high quality food even if you have access to Whole Foods and things like that, which is overpriced. And there's been tons of exposés done on that place and on what they call organic and how they grow their foods and things like that and how they source things and et cetera, et cetera. Not to mention that they're owned by Amazon. But but with the superfoods, um, one of the things that I love about it is that it makes your life so easy, and that it's a super simple way to get the highest quality nutrition into your body. Um, you cut asparagus from your asparagus bed today. That's awesome. Okay, so and but here's the other thing about gardening is that I know people who do gardening and who are amazing gardeners and like organic certified, have done gardening for restaurants, things like that. It's incredibly time consuming. It's very rewarding, but it's incredibly time consuming, and there's a learning curve to it. So that's something to think about too. But anyway, I'm not saying don't garden. I'm saying that even if you do, uh the superfoods make your life easier. So and I'll get back to that in just a minute, but I wanted to uh I just want to make sure that I don't miss my notes here. So I told you guys that um uh okay, I told you guys that George is going to be I told you guys that George is going to be doing a YouTube tonight, correct? Yeah, gardening is not easy. It's not. I like growing flowers. I'm growing tomatoes though. All right, so George is going to be on YouTube. Let me check my time here. I just have to be careful about my time. Okay, I have 10 minutes left. Um, so what else did I tell you? Oh, I'm going to the Faith and Freedom Conference, or sorry, Health and Freedom Conference in Tulsa next week. I'm going to be there with Ann Vandersteel. Um, and I wanted to say one thing about this because I know that a lot of you have been watching Ann Vandersteel. A lot of you have been watching. A lot of you guys have been watching her. A lot of you know that this thing is happening. One of the things that you may not know is that that it started out as at a conference center with about 400 people, and it got so big, like huge, that it's now going to be 4,500 people, and that's amazing. And here's the thing, the conference organizers got a request they got more than 50,000 requests for tickets to this event. Amazing. The mainstream media, okay, Vicky, it's like you read my thoughts. She says, I'm wondering if the conference will be infiltrated by mainstream media. Uh, the answer to that is no, because the mainstream media isn't allowed. They do not have a seat at the table, and they're not being allowed in to cover the event. It's going to be RSBN, Victory Channel, One America News. I don't know if Real America's Voice is going to be there, but this is huge. They're not giving them a seat at the table. Steel Truth, of course, is going to be there, and the other thing that they're doing, and this is what the point that I wanted to make is that every single ticket to this event has been vetted. Every single attendee has been vetted uh, personally by phone. And if you got a ticket for this event online and you paid online for a ticket, that is not a valid ticket. I got an email from them yesterday saying this. If you did not talk to somebody from the conference, if you didn't talk to somebody from the conference and get uh, if you didn't pay personally for your ticket by phone with somebody from the conference, then your ticket is not valid. So just spread the word about that. So if you know somebody who's going and they said they got their ticket online, it is probably a scam. And that would be horrible for them to get all the way to Oklahoma to the conference to find out that they were scammed. So um, yeah, keep that just keep that in mind. It's going to be very exciting. And one of the organizers is Clay Clark, and he's an entrepreneur. He's like a business coach, and I think that I've been listening to some of his podcasts, the Thrive Time show. It's very interesting. I kind of enjoy listening to him. He's super high energy. Have you guys listened to him? He's just like all over the place. I think last week he was on Victory Channel and the guy told him to stop talking because he's one of those guys like, it's like the Energizer Bunny. So I think it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, to be there. And it's a zero masking event. Zero, it's like a COVID free zone. It's going to be so awesome because they see through what's happening here, and it's going to be great. And I'm staying in Tulsa. This thing is at Rhema Bible College in Broken Arrow, so I don't know how close they are, but so it's I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really good. Yeah, and so Lynn Wood is going to be there. Lynn Wood, General Flynn, Ann Vandersteel, um, Clay Clark. I think Mike Lindell might come. Is Mike Lindell coming? I know Hank Kunneman said last week on Victory Channel that he wanted to come, and so I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited. I'm excited about the networking opportunity, and so I just want to have a good time. Yeah. Um, yeah, and I don't know if I'll be able to live stream. I don't know my situation. I'm gonna try to I'll do a show on Monday before I go, and then I don't know what will happen for the rest of the week, but I'll let you know. Uh, you think Lendell is going to be there? That's what I think too. His Glory and Amanda Grace. Yeah, I think I'm going to get to meet Amanda Grace. That'll be awesome, and yeah, it'll be really good. So, hey, I have a question. If any of my listeners know of an attorney in Texas who is I guess licensed or credentialed to represent in federal court, please contact me, info@marygracemedia.com. I'm just trying to get some information for a friend. So it's Texas. Anybody knows of an attorney that can represent in federal court, um, please get in touch with me in Texas. Somebody that's in Texas. I don't know how that works. I don't know if they have to be Texas based or if it's a federal case that they can be licensed anywhere. The individual that is in question is in Texas. So no, I think I mean maybe his organization. That's a good question. Um, yeah, but if anybody knows anybody or if you are that person, please reach out to me, info@marygracemedia.com. And I just need to get some information to somebody. So, am I still traveling? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to travel by car. I think it'll be good. Yeah, I don't wanna give the airlines my business right now. I'm just so fed up with them, so fed up with their agenda and behavior and the way they're treating people. It just I don't wanna give them my time or attention, you know? But I'm taking my superfoods and, I don't know if you who was on the show the other day when I was talking about the kamut, the wheatgrass blend. I love that stuff. It's changing my life even more than superfoods, right? Um, it's amazing. So, I mean, it's part of the superfoods. That's what I was saying. Oh, ACLJ. Okay. Um, all right. Yeah, it is a good time for a road trip. Thank you for that suggestion. Yeah, so um it's real the kamut, which is wheatgrass, has really helped my allergies, you guys. It's amazing. But what I wanted to say about the superfoods is that I was talking about this earlier. You know, if you knew that you could get food that actually makes you feel better, that helps you improve your energy, helps you sleep better, helps you restore your gut microbiome, which then leads to clearer thinking and less brain fog and fatigue, et cetera, things like that. Why wouldn't you try it? You know, especially if you're tired of being tired, tired of being sick, tired of being on prescription medications, tired of being on, Tylenol and painkillers and things like that for whatever it is that you are dealing with. Um, Write to me, info@marygracemedia.com. Find out more about our superfoods. It's organic, non GMO, really the best superfoods on the planet. I feel like we should be charging people twice what we do. Don't worry, I'm not raising the prices, but write to me and get a voucher so that you can save $100 or more off of your 30-day supply of superfoods. That's actually 60 meal replacements. And, if you are wanting to break the drive-through habit, if you're wanting to figure out how to eat healthier, but you really don't know even where to start, this is an incredible program that's gonna help you do that. It's like a 30-day, 30, 60, or 90-day reset. And so it's really going to be it's a great way to either reestablish or establish a foundation for better health. And, it's going forward, like long term, right? You want to be able to be around for all the good things that are happening, and good things are happening. So don't forget that, and understand that this is a time where, God is allowing you to test your faith, to have a growth and to have an awakening in your faith, because, he's given us everything that we need for life and godliness. And the times when that is tested are the times when we're pushed and pressed and we don't understand and we don't know how we're going to go to the next place. That is where our faith really grows. And I think for a lot of people, that is this time because we don't know what's coming. And the things that we see around us look pretty dark in some ways. But the real challenge that I want to leave you with and myself is, where is your focus? Is it on all of this noise of the horrible things that are being done by the resident in chief and by the globalist cabal that wants to control you from, you know, every aspect of your life? Or are you focused on the Lord who is your deliverer? There's really you can't do both. I mean, if you've ever tried, taking these eyes and pointing one this way and one that way, you can't really do it. Like both eyes focus on one thing at the same time. So that's the way it was designed. And so really think about what you're looking at and what you're focusing on and what you're putting your attention on, because that is the thing that is going to really make a difference in your life. The thing that you give your attention to, the words that you say, the thoughts that you think. And so if you're spending all of your time thinking, oh no, doom and gloom, this is the end, this is horrible, then guess what? It is. And so just keep that in mind because, you know, when the Israelites had left Egypt, the thing that people kind of sometimes forget is that they actually had everything they needed when they left Egypt. They literally went to the Egyptians because God told them to, and they asked them for all of their stuff, their gold, their silver, their wealth. They didn't leave empty-handed. They left Egypt with the wealth of the Egyptians. Did you guys know that? They didn't leave empty-handed. They didn't leave Israel. They didn't leave Egypt as paupers. They had the goods, and they didn't even have to take it. It was given to them. And yet they got into the desert and they acted like paupers. They acted like, they had this poverty mindset. They completely forgot who brought them out of Egypt and how he not only provided for them, but prospered them before they even set foot out of Egypt. And I feel like in some ways I see that with a lot of believers right now. I think that people are forgetting that we have everything. I mean, we have the God of the universe, that we have the riches and glory and power, and we have the position, we have the positioning. We're seated in heavenly places as believers in Jesus Christ, and that is the position from whence we fight. And we're acting like we're under the feet of these globalists, of these politicians who have screwed over the country for so long, of the pharmaceutical industry that wants to uh, change your whole DNA or whatever it is. That's not who we are. We're the ones with the goods. We're the ones with the upper hand. We are the people. The power in this country belongs to the people. That's the way our Constitution is designed. It's just that we either didn't know it or we've forgotten it. Very similar to the Egyptians, you know? And then you turn around and get mad at God. Well, guess what? He's already given you everything you need to fight. And he's also given you the ability to trust in him and to have faith in him. And yet if you're taking your eyes off of him, if you're taking your eyes off of him, then what are you looking at? That's what I want to leave you with for the weekend. What are your eyes on? What are you focusing on? What are you putting your energy on? Because that is what is going to have the most power in your life. Think about it. Okay? So, okay, somebody just put a comment in the YouTube. Patriot Transition Voice will have a live booth at the conference. FYI, they're on Gab and YouTube. Okay, yeah. I know somebody suggested to me that I have a Superfoods booth at the conference, but I'm not a booth kind of person. I need to be moving around. Um, I'm more of a networker. So, um, but yeah, Betsy, so I think it is a good question to ponder and pray about. Just really do some soul searching and ask God to open your eyes, because if you're running around like Chicken Little and you've got your eyes on the pending doom, what does that say about your faith? And what does that say about your God? Okay, just something to think about. Okay. Um, yeah, and don't forget, it does help to have a clearer mind, and putting the right food in your body does help you with that. So make sure you write to me, info@marygracemedia.com, and get your voucher for your superfoods so that you at least have a fighting chance with your nutrition. Um, you know, just end the guesswork and get the nutrition in your body. And that's info@marygracemedia.com. Don't forget, you're going to get over $100 off of a 30-day supply. Are there any more questions or comments before I go? I'm just looking that it's kind of weird not having Facebook because the chat is down a lot. Let me just see. It looks like Facebook is back. You know what is so strange about Facebook? Okay, it's not strange, it's just Facebook, but they are so, they're so ridiculously slow with notifications. It's crazy. People write to me or they make comments on my page, and it shows up I get a notification, like, the next day. It's just weird. That's one reason that I ask people to refrain from messaging me on Facebook for the most part. It's really better to email me, info@marygracemedia.com, because they're just ridiculously behind schedule. I don't know what they're doing. They're busy censoring people. They're not really doing notifications. Um, I will have a blessed weekend and give hugs to my dad and Barley. Yeah, Barley's doing good, by the way. He's really cute. And he got very excited today because we got a package, and it was filled with a whole bunch of paper, and it was, like, twisted, like tons of paper, and I just threw it out on the floor, and so he was, like, diving in it like a pile of leaves. It was the funniest thing, so cute. Oh, somebody asked about cancer and superfoods. Where was that question? Somebody asked about that. So here's the thing about superfoods is, what we have is real food. It's not a gimmick. There's nothing synthetic. There's nothing there's no fillers, there's no gums, there's no preservatives, anything like that. And so, if you want to support your body with the best nutrition on the planet delivered right to your door, then I would suggest doing superfoods. It's also incredibly easy on the body because it's designed to help your body restore itself and to regenerate the things that allow you to absorb nutrients, so your gut and that kind of thing. So so I would say I'm not a doctor, but I know that there are people who have cancer who are being treated who are using the superfoods, and I think that it's highly beneficial. The question is, like, when you're when you if you have cancer or any sickness, would you want to put, high quality, living, organic, green foods in your body? Or would you want to put that stuff that they give you at the hospital? I think it's called Ensure, which is made with high fructose corn syrup and a whole list of chemicals that you can't even pronounce. They call that nutrition. That's crazy. And you know what? All of that corn is grown with all of that corn is grown with pesticides. So the things that are causing cancer, they're actually telling you to eat those things. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, but come on. Yeah. And, doctors don't get any training in nutrition, you guys. So if you're going to ask your doctor about superfoods, don't waste your time because they don't know. They don't. I mean, it's like they just don't get training. It's like when I was getting my master's in education, I'm a reading specialist. Did you know that that teachers and teacher training at the time when I was training, they get one class in literacy and teaching how to read. They're teaching your kid how to read and write, and they only get one course in teaching literacy, at least in Virginia. It's crazy. So, yeah, so that's my take on it is that, the doctors don't know anything. I've talked to nutritionists at hospitals who give some pretty shocking advice um, about cancer. Yeah. So, American Cancer Society definitely recommends whole foods, veggies, fruits, and whole grains. Yeah. The part they leave out is the part that we fill in, which is that we're not using pesticides. We're actually helping you get that out of your body. That's a big difference. So, okay, don't get me on my soapbox. I think there's a shortage of nutritionists and homeopathic doctors that treat total body. Exactly. Yeah. So if you have a naturopath, if you have a holistic practitioner that understands nutrition, that's one thing. If you have an AMA trained doctor, who thinks they know everything. Apologies to the doctors out there, but you guys have like huge egos. Um, that I wouldn't really show them my nutrition plan because they don't know. They're just not trained. It's just not their lane. Let's just put it that way. It's not their lane. Um, so I don't know. You're yes, but that would that include superfoods? I don't know what I don't. I'm not sure. What do you what would what include superfoods? That's my question. What the doctors wouldn't know about superfoods? No, they would look at it, and unless they're trained in holistic nutrition, there's no point in showing them. So there's so much I could say about, you know, the medical industry, but I'm not going to say it right now. Okay. Send me an email, info@marygracemedia.com, and I will be back on Monday at 5:30 Eastern, and I will bring you a show then. Um, okay. All right. Hope everybody has a definitely superfoods. I'm leaning on going there. Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like you can't go wrong. Okay. I'll talk to you guys on Monday. Thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate all the support. And if you want to support the show, go to marygracemedia.com and click on support. You can there's a support link there. That is what that helps me do the things I do, like traveling to these conferences and things like that. Getting equipment like this wonderful, beautiful microphone that helps me sound better. That is because of you guys who support the show. So so, thank you. Thank you to everybody that does that, even if it's if it's a once a month, like Delia does that, a couple of other people do. If it's just a one-time thing, it all goes into that fund that helps me to pay for all of the things that bring you this show. So just be aware of that and thank you very much. And buying superfoods helps me also. And so either way, if you get superfoods, it's win-win. So I will be back on Monday. Have a great weekend. And remember what I said. Where's your focus? Really do some digging this weekend about that, some deep digging inside. All right. Take care, everybody.